Hello, everyone. I am Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another check-in with the Star Wars EU library. If you missed the first video, I will put the link in the top corner there to that. I'm just going to go through slowly as I acquire more work, more books, and my goal is to eventually have the entire completed Star Wars EU library. As you can see, if you saw the last video, I have the collection's grown significantly, so we're getting there, trying to add a little bit from each era, as we go along. I've got some more books in the mail right now on their way. But last time we were here, we checked on the first items, which was the content that's available on the internet. So a lot of the blogs or little short stories and whatnot that was released here or there. Many of them from the Star Wars magazine that are now released, available on certain hard drives and whatnot. I'll put that link in the description, so if I remember to do that. That you can find and download those. I've downloaded them, printed them out, and have them in some binders. So I showed you that in the last video. You can check that out. As you see, I have the books in order, chronological order in terms of the universe. Each era of the universe going in, and I'm gonna, I might stay pretty close to the order going through chronological order as I go through here, but I might just deviate now and then as well, and I might come back to some things. So for today, for example, we did the ones that were over on the internet, those hard to find little blogs, short stories, and such. We're gonna look at the reference books now. Now, I this is by no means all of the reference books available for the Star Wars EU. I am still there's still many of them that I'm looking for and trying to hunt down. But we'll go ahead and look through some of these, and it's about here, over here, and I'll take you through just some of the ones that I have and some of the things to look for, and the benefits of having these. So let's go ahead and check that out. So first up, just have some basic reference books. These are still available today. You have to be careful though, because if you're like me and you're only interested in the Star Wars EU, none of the Disney canon nonsense, then you do have to make sure that you purchase the editions of some of these books that are before Disney took over, because Disney has reissued some of them with a lot of its Disney stuff. And you can know that if if you see Disney or what is it, is it Hyperion? I forget their publishing name on the books and stuff like that. But if you're just looking at DK or oh, I forget. I'm blanking on names right now, but for the novels and whatnot, you can look at the dates too, of course. But these are pretty sweet. They're not a lot of some info, but just more visual, just kind of fun little encyclopedic, elements and whatnot. I always try to get it from the years that do include the prequels. So a lot of these books were, some of them anyway, that we're going to go through were released before the prequels, so you have those editions, which do include the EU, and then after the prequels, which include the EU as well as the prequels, and that's my sweet spot there that I like to find that. So visual dictionary, visual guide, and whatnot. You can find a lot of things like this, and they're fun. They're fun if you like that kind of thing. It's nice to complete the collection. I even have the Star Wars Clone Wars. Some people don't accept Clone Wars in the EU. I totally get that. I myself accept it right up until the last season that aired. I don't buy that. That's not Star Wars to me for a number of reasons that we won't get into here. But if you like it, you got some good stuff there too. So basic reference things. But now we go from here though, and there are a lot more reference books. There's some that I want to get. There are a lot more in the collection here, but we go from these basic reference books to the essential guides. So I by no means have all of these. There's still many more that I'm dying to collect, but I do have quite a few, and we'll go through and take a look at them. And again, the same things apply here that I was saying a second ago. You do want to make sure that you get the editions that were before Disney took over, if you're interested in just the the Star Wars EU, as I am. They do have some of the editions that came out before the prequels. So, for example, the new essential guide or the essential guide to characters before the prequels actually has Nomi Ryder, from the Star Wars comic books on the cover, which is cool. And she's included in this, but after the prequels, they did include the prequel characters as well. And these are not comprehensive by any means, so this isn't every single character, this isn't every single alien species, and it can be a bit of a bummer when I'm reading through a EU book that I haven't read before, and I come across an alien race that the name sounds familiar or whatever, and you look it up and it's not in there or whatever. The internet's your friend. It can't be completely comprehensive, I'm sure, because you end up with a whole set instead of one book. But we've got the alien species, the vehicles and vessels, the basic chronology, which is a sweet one. That's a good one, a good find. These are available in hardback too. So they're a little harder to find. A lot of the Star Wars EU books that, in general, are only available in paperback, you can find sometimes library copies because they would make, even if they weren't releasing hardcovers to the general public, they would sometimes make library copies in hardcover because they're going to be circulated a lot more and need to have a bit more of a shelf life, you know? So you can find a lot of those used now. And anytime I do see a hardcover reference book, I do try and snatch it up. So I have the hardcover New Essential Guide to Droids and Weapons and Technology. But I think there's one over here I might not have showcased. Yeah, the essential planets and moons. This one's fun to look through as I'm playing Star Wars: the Old Republic, the MMO. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. The essential guides. Again, not really adding anything to the story, but just a really good reference as you're reading through stories or going through the comics or whatever. And you either encounter planets and alien races that you personally hadn't encountered before in the universe, or those it can be hard to keep track of sometimes. So oh, what was this race here? I remember the name, but I can't quite remember whatever. These are really helpful for that. So definitely recommend the essential guides. They're a lot of fun. Next up, though, I'm going to cover a reference book that actually is a great source of story and actually is a nice glue that kind of holds the EU together in many ways. So, once again, this is by no means exhaustive. There are a lot of these source books out there that I still need to collect, but these are the role playing games. So, just for the sake, I'm not a role playing RPGer myself, in live action or, tabletop rather. If it's video game, sure. But, I'm not really into tabletop gaming. But, for the sake of the collecting, I do have the actual role playing game, all the rules there and whatnot. And the source books are where you're going to get a lot of your story, connective tissue of the story. So I've got the basic source book of Star Wars there. I've got the Dark Empire, the Heir to the Empire, the Tales of the Jedi, the great old comics, and then one on the basic Sith as well. There are a lot more out there, that I'm trying to collect and get a hold of. But what's so great about these is, for example, the Dark Empire source book, right? It's a little controversial. I won't get onto all the reasons why right now in this video because it's its own video's worth of topic, but I'm not a big Dark Empire fan in terms of just the story standalone as it is. I think there are a lot of problems with that approach, for what it was and how it historically came about and so forth. But I have come to truly appreciate the tale as it's been situated into. I think this is something I was reading here. Yeah, as it's been situated into the EU since then. And there's a number of ways. There's a radio drama, for example, that fleshes it out much better. The connective tissue in this source book actually, because for example, this isn't a case of where when they wrote the Dark Empire, they didn't know that anything else was being written. Zahn was writing the Thrawn trilogy as well, and in the trying to kind of smush these two into the same universe came, sort of late in the game. So this source book does a great job of that. It actually talks about the timeline. It says, okay, after the events of the Thrawn trilogy, and this is what happened, and with all the characters, it kind of goes through their progression and their growth, between that and Dark Empire. And it makes it feel a little more organic, makes it make a little bit more sense, to me anyway. And other people might just love Dark Empire for what it is, and that's fine. But that's just one example. Some great stories. All the source books have some good stories. The Tales of the Jedi has some great stuff if you're a fan of those comics, which I'll be getting back to my reviews of them very, very soon. But these are great sources of story that you're not going to find if you're just collecting the books and comics as they're released in paperback or hardcover or whatever. These are musts, I think, if you're really going to have a good grasp on the connective tissue, everything that makes the EU the EU. And last up for the this episode anyway, the reference books video here, I'll come back to them as I collect more of them, but and show you more of the new acquisitions. But here we do have the Essential Reader's Companion. Now I vacillated back and forth a couple of times trying to figure out whether I was going to buy this or not because it's written by this dude here, and I'm not a fan of this man. He's certainly no friend to classic Star Wars fans, but this is the Essential Reader's Companion for just the Star Wars EU. This was written before Disney took over, and it is some very good information. It's not all exhaustive. So, for example, it doesn't include a lot of the blogs and short stories and ephemera like that. I think it includes comics. I forget. Or might not include comics. In the beginning, he talks about what he's going to include and what he isn't, because it's again you'd need a whole set up a couple of volumes and whatnot for that. Which hey, I'm not above our beyond your requesting, let's go ahead and do that. I'd buy it. But it's still a lot of great info in terms of, each book. You get a little snapshot of each book, some great art that's included in here. That's from different promotional and different covers from different books and everything like that. So it's a good edition, and this is still available. This was I bought this brand new, but it's not. As you can tell, it's not Disney's released. I do think Disney's doing some more stuff like this, obviously trying to include their canon nonsense and whatnot. But it's a good place to start, especially if you're just starting in the EU. This is a good book to grab. Just make sure you're getting the right edition before the Disney canon, and it's a good place to start. Just a little blurbs, like I said, I always think if you've never touched the EU before and you've seen all the films, the 6 Star Wars movies that exist, because there are no more, then you want to, well, unless you count like the Ewoks and stuff, but you want to go to the Thrawn trilogy, for example. And this is, a good source. You can go and read like a little blurbs or here and there. You are going to see spoilers in this. So, this isn't a place to go and read about the books before you necessarily read them. It's just a good place, again, to kind of see where they fit together in order, connective tissue and whatnot. But again, if you've got the collection, if you've got the library, like I'm trying to do just for posterity's sake, owning these original editions, kind of untouched by the later editing and insertions and everything like that done by Disney Canon, then yeah, I think it's a must-have. So that is where I'll stop it today for the video. Again, we'll continue these as we go along, but we'll switch back to the library there and just talk about what's coming up. So I will have links this time in the description below to some of these books that you can purchase on Amazon now. You can find the Essential Guide, the Reader's Guide. Some of them, if you want the right editions, like I have here, you'll need to find used sellers or some buy and sell groups. I actually buy some of these source books from a convention that I frequent, or at least did before the world went crazy. But they would have charity auctions. A lot of people would bring in stuff to sell for that. So you can find there's a lot of great finds. But check the links in the description below. I do have some links directly to some of these that you can find and get the right editions for. You don't have to kind of search for yourself. I'll just have that fixed out for you. And we'll come back. So these videos are just sort of the short shrift, just kind of teasers, are short previews of some of these stages of my EU collection. Again, I know people out there have a far more extensive collection than I do, but mine's growing, and I just want to kind of document as it goes along. I am releasing, I need to get back to them, but trying to do some more in-depth reviews, spoiler-free, but more in-depth reviews of the books as I go through chronologically. So those are available over on the Extended Universe website, and I'll have some links to those as well down below. But thanks for watching, and I will be coming back to continue to document this. Like I said, we're on like shelf 5 down there, all the way to the end. So going well. Pretty soon we'll have the whole bookshelf completed. But it's fun. It's fun to collect these. It's fun to own a piece of history that that the industry right now, Disney's releasing some essential guides, but it doesn't include everything, and you're starting to see some Disney insertions and stuff like that. So it's just good to own these for posterity's sake, kind of curate a bit of wonderful cultural mythology. That's all for now. Let me know which of these books you think you'd be interested in, or if you have some of them that I've yet to acquire and you have some favorites or whatever. Love to hear about that and your own collection. But until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into these Star Wars stories you love. Thanks for watching.